Right, we're going to have a look at how to calculate the mean from a frequency table. Now, a frequency table is for discrete data, so data that you can count. So this information is about 30 students were asked how many cats they owned. So if we went and we asked those 30 people how many cats they owned, then there are 0 to 4, so nobody has any more than 4 cats apparently, and some people have 0 cats. So 6 people have 0 cats, 13 people have 1 cat, 7 people have 2 cats, 3 people have 3 cats, and 1 person has 4 cats. So that is how the table is made up. Now we could think about applying that and thinking about how the data would look without it being in a table. So there are 6 that have 0 cats, so you would have to do 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros, and then 13 ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and so on. But it's an awful lot of work, so that's why we put it into a table. So we group it into a table like so. Now we have to use a special method when we want to calculate the mean, and what we do is we have to take the 2 columns, and we're going to call the first column X, and that is the number of cats, and we're going to call the second column F, which stands for frequency, because that's how many those children have, how many cats those children have. Okay, so what we're going to do is the mean is the sum of the frequency, so this, multiplied by the value, so the number of cats. And we have to do the sum of that, and we represent that by this symbol here, which looks a bit like an E, but it represents sum. So the sum of the frequency multiplied by the, in this case, number of cats. So that is the first thing we are going to do. We're going to multiply the 2 columns together. So we have 0 times 6 is 0, 1 times 13 is 13, 2 times 7 is 14, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 1 is 4. And we need the sum of the frequency multiplied by the value. So we need to add those up. So 0 plus 13 plus 14 plus 9 plus 4 is 40. So the sum of f of x is 40, and we need to divide that by the sum of the frequency. Now this is the frequency here, and in the question they give you the frequency because it says 30 students, so we already have that value. So this is the sum of the frequency, and this is the sum of the frequency multiplied by the number of cats. And to work out the mean, we do the sum of the frequency times the number of children, which is 40, and then we do this divided by the sum of the frequency, which is 30. So the sum of the frequency multiplied by the number of cats divided by the sum of the frequency, so 40 divided by 30, and we can do that on the calculator if we want, which is 1.3 recurring. So 1.3. Now we should find that we should have a value between 0 and 4, which we have, and most of the numbers are around this value here between 0 and 2, and our value is 1.3, so that seems to fit.